Good morning. I call the EDA special meeting to order. Would you please read the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members present today are Michael Burns, Violet Delkey, Chuck Hendrickson, Zach Hiring, Pat Kovash, John Rogala, and Bobby Soline.
Thank you. Are there any agenda amendments? Hearing none. Any citizens addressing the board? I don't see anyone. Any commissioners' reports? Okay. Next item on the agenda is the 2019 General Obligation Moorhead EDA Authority Bond Refunding Series 2019A. I'll turn the floor over to you, and you can share what you need to share with us so that we can.
Say, maybe I can just, by way of just real quick introduction, Paul
Yeah.
Spengman from Baker Tilly is here from the cities, and so he'll be updating, providing an update on the bond refinancing that we're looking at today, and then Sarah will be offering a description of what the parameters resolution means.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, everyone. This is a great January day, huh? So I'm Paul Steinman with Baker Tilly, formerly Springstead. And I still like to say that because that's how people remember us or remember me. So today we want to discuss a refunding opportunity of some bonds that were issued back in 2000. These are 2008 or 2009. These are Moorhead Economic Development Authority issued bonds. They're general obligation tax increment refunding bonds originally issued for projects at the Holiday Mall. So today we're here to consider the resolution to permit the pricing and award of the EDA refunding bonds, and I'll go through the refunding in particular. On December 4, we'll take competitive proposals for the refunding, and then the pricing committee, which Sarah will help describe, will award the bonds on December 4th. So these are, again, these are bonds that are issued, that were issued for the Holiday Mall TIF project. Let me get to my summary here. And they will be refunding or refinancing the Series 2009A bonds. This is what's commonly referred to as a current refunding. The amount of the refunding will be approximately $1,645,000. Again, these are general obligation bonds of the city, where the city provides you the authority to issue and pledges its full faith and credit to levy if needed to pay the bonds. Right now, the bond debt service is being covered 100% by tax increment revenues. So based on current estimates, the refunding is projected to result in savings of about $15,000 a year, or total net savings of about $116,000. And that's net savings, so net of all costs associated with the refunding. That's about $116,000 total. These bonds go out to February 1st of 2028, 7 to 8 years. And again, savings of approximately $15,000 a year. That was our estimate at the time, and that time was October 22nd. A lot of things have happened in the market since then, a lot of good things for issuers and a lot of not so good things for issuers as well. But we still think that the sale being only 3 weeks out, that we're in the wheelhouse of $115,000 of savings, of net savings. So the resolution, we can talk a little bit about that. I think maybe typically, I don't think this body issues bonds regularly. Typically, I would be here to set the sale today, establish the terms of the offering, and then sell at a future date and bring those results back to a board meeting. Because these bonds are combined with two series of bonds that the city is issuing. And when we early discussed our calendar for the city issuance, we thought we might have some difficulty having 6 folks here to vote to award the bonds at a future meeting in December. So the approach this time is to have you folks consider what's commonly referred to as a parameters resolution. And that resolution establishes the parameters of the sale and authorizes the sale to be awarded by a pricing committee. And that pricing committee is the EDA chair, city manager, and I'm looking at Sarah. And
City finance director and the mayor.
And the mayor. Yeah. So those folks will get together in the council chambers on December 4th, and I'll present the results of the sale, and then if the sale results are within the parameters that you're approving today, then the pricing committee is allowed to award the sale. So and those parameters, maybe Sarah has that right in front of her. The parameters of the sale include an interest rate and a minimum savings level.
If you have the resolution in your packet, it's on the bottom of page 1. The F whereas sets out the parameters, a not to exceed of $1,675,000, not exceed an interest rate of 2.9%, and the minimum savings level at least $40,000.
So that's, so again, if the sale results come in and there's savings of $50,000 and the interest rate is within those parameters, the pricing committee has the authority to go ahead and award the sale. To determine those parameters, we did a fair bit of sensitivity. The market would have to change, decline for issuers significantly to only result in $40,000 of savings. We hope that doesn't happen, but that is an outside parameter. Again, we're about 3 weeks out from a sale, and the market has been a little bit turbulent, but we're hopeful still to be in the range of $115,000 in savings.
Just a quick question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the market has been volatile. What would set it off where we'd drop to that 40,000? What would be an event?
The market would have to change by about 0.5%. The true interest cost, which is that tick that we referred to that's in your parameters, would have to change by about 50 basis points or 0.5%. That would be a huge change in 3 weeks' time. But there's a lot of unique things going on in the market right now. I think one of them coming up here, if I remember correctly, too, is, well, aside from all of the federal level politics and things, whenever we look at the stock market and the Dow Jones Industrial Average and see that going up, that usually is a bad day for us, for issuers, because people are putting their money in stocks and not bonds. So we've seen the U.S. Treasuries change, 25 basis points or 1/4% over the last 3 to 4 weeks, back and forth though. So, it's getting out that crystal ball and trying to see what could or couldn't happen. We still think that within only a few weeks of time here, that will be within the range of $115,000 of savings, but.
Okay. So it depends on market factors.
Depends on almost, everything. It depends on a lot of things, so.
So like everything that basically affects the stock market and the bond market
Yep, the financial, anything that puts the financial markets in turmoil, but I mean, I hate to say things like this, but geopolitical events that have a significant impact on the financial markets, like a terrorist attack, those things may actually be good for issuers, because people go to put their money in bonds, and you know,
The safety of it.
a lot of supply and a low demand, and it creates a good environment for issuers. That's one example, but, you know.
Thank you.
John?
You share why we have to wait till December 4th to go to market?
So, sure. So we have a schedule that we put together many months ago. We would typically, this meeting and the sale itself are 4 weeks, scheduled 4 weeks apart purposely. This sale is combined with or on the same offering document as the two city series of sales, so they're going together. They could have been separated off. There's additional cost to doing that. They could have been done under different timing circumstances as well. But this track has run together with the city sales from the beginning. So, and I think your question probably is how can we, when we see advantage in savings, how can we grab them? And sometimes you can manage that, and sometimes you can't. In this case, December 4th is going to be our sale date, and we're still hopeful that we're going to be in that market, so.
Other questions from the board? You care to add anything to what's been said?
No, I think you did a good job describing it. If you guys don't have any other questions, we will just need you to adopt the resolution, the parameters resolution that he referenced.
Okay. Anyone care to make a motion to adopt the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Second? Motion is made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that's it, right?
Miss, you want to bring something else?
Mr. Chair, one additional thing. First, thank you for being here. I know this is a special meeting and everybody had to rearrange their calendar, so thank you so much for that. Second, I'm going to let Amy explain. We attended an awards dinner for one of our local economic developers last week in the cities, and I'll let her explain what happened. And there's the award, but anyway, I'll let Amy explain it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and board members. Just wanted to lift up this project. I know I was here just maybe a couple months ago talking about the fact that we had submitted our final annual report in regards to a project, the Grove Apartments project on First Avenue North, which had received a contamination cleanup grant. Several years ago, we had finalized one of our final reports on that. But to bring us back to the beginning of this project started many years ago. I'll give you just a little bit of an overview of the project and then what the award was about. So, and why it affects this board. So in 2006, the city received a US EPA investigation grant in which approximately a dozen properties along First Avenue and other of the original corridors of the city were investigated. 2010, the EDA approved acquisition of two properties, property owners, 4 parcels on First Avenue North. That was the Aggregate Industries property and the Hedgemasters property, if you remember. So at that time, the board, just like you, offered up a portion of the EDA's budget to acquire those properties. Then in 2011, the properties were demolished. In the next year, the zoning district was changed to allow for a mixed-use zoning. In 2015, the First Avenue North Gateway corridors tax increment financing district was established again by this board. Many meetings were utilized to discuss that topic and how, what properties should be in or out of the district and how big the district would be. Also in 2015, Mark Buckholz of Buckholz Construction, he and his father came forward to the city and said, you know what, we would be interested in looking at putting a project on that property. Because the property had about $1.8 million worth of contamination still remaining on the property, a number of funding sources were used. So tax increment financing was part of the project, and also the city applied for and received a contamination cleanup grant that we've just recently completed. In 2017, the first building was completed of the project, and then the successive buildings were completed in each year since. So 2017, building 1, 2018, building 2, and now 2019, building 3 is now complete. In 2020, we expect we will get our no further action letter from the MPCA, and then the project will actually be finally complete. And that's when this deed will close out the grant. They won't close that out until we get that no further action from the MPCA. So partners to get us to where we were today, the US EPA for the grant, the MPCA, Minnesota deed, and of course, I would hate to fail to mention Mark Buckholz, who really brought the project to fruition. If you don't have a project, you don't have a cleanup. So thank you to Mark Buckholz and to his whole team for bringing that project to that part of First Avenue North. And I also really do believe that that project was a catalyst for all the great projects that are happening right along that corridor right now. So we do appreciate Mark with his project and bringing all of the people that came along with that apartment complex. Now to talk about the Minnesota Brownsfield is an organization in Minnesota that sort of cares for and looks after land uses and reuses. And we were invited, and well, Mark Johnson was of Braun Intertech was the environmental specialist who saw the project from beginning to end, like basically from 2006 until now. He nominated that project as to receive a Rescape Award, and we were one of 3 projects in the state of Minnesota which was considered to receive this award. There's 3 categories: community impact, economic impact, and environmental impact. The Grove was nominated under the environmental impact, along with the Capital Region Watershed District and Allianz, thank you, soccer stadium. That was a really beautiful soccer stadium that we drove by on the way to get to this Rescape Award event, and they won. They were pretty special, pretty large. I think it was something like 100 acres or something. 400 jobs. Yeah, so we couldn't compete with the jobs and sort of that type of economic impact, but what I can tell you about our project is it did receive a lot of really great comments at the event, but also we can lift ourselves up and be proud for the redevelopment of that site, which was actually worth almost nothing in tax value. Now it's worth over $12.8 million. So that is a quite significant economic impact for our city. And anything you'd like to add?
Thanks, Amy. I just think that the EDA board deserves recognition in addition to Amy, who has been here through this process and kept it moving. And it was really high honor and recognition. The competition was very fierce, and to get down to the final 3 and then to lose to Allianz, whatever. But anyway, we did good. We did really good. So thank you, Amy, for all your work and your dedication to seeing this through, and to the EDA board and all its work over the years. This does deserve some applause and recognition. So congratulations.
Thank you. Any Anything else? Okay, hearing none. The meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.